What's up, fam? Holy shit, that was a fun night last night. So I was watching the debates through Vaush's stream, and I imagine most people who watch me probably watch either Vaush or Destiny or both. And holy shit! So for the last year, since Vaush has become somebody on YouTube, he hasn't been able to debate Destiny, and he comes from Destiny's community. And he's debated him while he was there before, but until he got kind of famous on his own, he hasn't been able to debate Destiny. Meanwhile, Destiny's been going on this anti-leftist arc all over the place and debating everybody, and except for Vaush. And Vaush is like probably the best equipped person to take him down. And the excuse has always been that, well, Vaush is banned from Twitch, and Destiny's a partner at Twitch. He doesn't want to get penalized by Twitch. Well, here Vaush is starting the stream off by ripping into one of Destiny's latest videos, and Destiny got mad and came over. Like, all of a sudden, he figured out a way to come over, and it was really easy. All he did was muted his stream so that nobody in his audience on Twitch could hear what was being said, and I'm sure he told him to just go to Vaush's channel, and then they had a debate. Like, well, that was easy. Why didn't you do that a fucking year ago? So I was like, wow, this was great. You know, hearing Vaush and Destiny go at it a little bit. It wasn't all that long. But I was like, well, the Democratic debate's not going to match up to this. But then it did. Holy crap, that was the best Democratic debate I have ever seen, bar none. So obviously I've been very concerned about Bloomberg. Still are. Don't sleep on this. A whole lot of voters don't watch the debates. So we still got to stay on him, but holy crap, he got blown the fuck out. BTFO'd. Everybody went after him, and it was a beautiful thing watching all the centrists fight each other. It was all I could have dreamed of. It was all I could have hoped it could ever be. So Bernie did a fantastic job. He was treated as the front runner with attacks coming from all over the place and the moderators. But this is Bernie fucking Sanders we're talking about. He can handle it, and he did, like a champ. You're not going to surprise him with anything. He's heard everything before. He knows what to say, and he did a great job. But the real standout that everyone's going to be talking about is Elizabeth Warren. So definitely look up some clips from the debate. It was fantastic. Elizabeth Warren just nailed Bloomberg to the wall. It was a beautiful thing. I don't think Bloomberg has ever been talked to like that in his entire fucking life. Oh my God, it was good. And he was so uncomfortable, and he's sitting there blinking like 20 times a second here. I literally half expected him to walk off the stage and just give up. It was so bad. And apparently I wasn't the only one who thought that. The Young Turks were talking about it, and Anna said the same thing. Wow, I half expected him to walk off the stage. And it was coming from everybody, and he didn't have anything to say. I don't know how anybody watches that debate and still yeah, I'm for Bloomberg. He couldn't say anything because it's all fucking true. Which just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Definitely look it up. I'm not gonna get too in depth into it, but I did see one headline afterwards on Twitter or something, and it was about how Bloomberg survived the night in spite of all these attacks from everybody and stayed cool and collected. And it was like, obviously spin. Holy crap, what are you talking about survive? He didn't survive. They had to drag his corpse off the stage practically. And he didn't have anything to say. What the fuck? Anyway, but this is the thing. These kind of articles, they're not necessarily lies. We always assume as humans, and this is something I wanted to talk about today in my kind of introduction to critical thinking. We all have biases that affect our intuition and make our intuition not reliable. And we always assume naturally that other people have a similar kind of theory of mind as we do. They have similar experiences. They know the same thing. So if they're going to say something that's so clearly wrong from my perspective, they have to be lying. Now, this just isn't true. I know this because if you know anything about my background, until the age of 28, I was an evangelical, fundamentalist, homeschooled, Christian, Tea Party conservative. Okay, so, and I was completely sincere in everything I said. And I said a lot of the stupid shit you see people say. And I talk to a lot of these people, and I know these people, and I know that they're not lying when they say the kind of stupid shit that we talk about. This is the effect of bias. It's really phenomenal. I highly encourage everybody to learn more about it, because if you sincerely want to seek truth, you have to understand how your own mind works. And if you want to influence other people, you have to understand how their minds work. And probably the most important study in this is how biases work. So, as an example of probably the most talked about one, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is simply when you have an existing belief, you're naturally kind of gravitate to things that seem to confirm that belief. This is one of the reasons fallacies are so rhetorically powerful. Like, they still exist, even though they shouldn't, because logically speaking, they're not valid and or sound. But people still use them because they still work rhetorically. And a big part of that is because if you already have this belief, you're seeking for anything that confirms it subconsciously. Like, this isn't something we consciously do necessarily. So you put more weight on things that confirm your belief, and anything that challenges your belief, you're going to put up walls against. And you're going to defend against, and you're going to disregard, and you're less likely to remember that. This is why when you see the same person, you just they made an argument, you've destroyed it analytically, facts, sources, citations, and then 2 days later, you see them talking to somebody else making the same fucking argument. And we're like, are you just lying? Why are you spreading an argument that you know has been debunked? Well, chances are since it was challenging their belief, they didn't really read it all. They didn't really think about it. They kind of skimmed it, if anything, and then they quickly forgot about it because it challenges their belief. This is what the subconscious does. It defends the current worldview, and it's difficult to break through that. That's why people's minds aren't changed very often, especially online. You have a much better chance if you're talking to somebody in person or in a verbal conversation. But so that's confirmation bias. It makes it very difficult. Another one, kind of related, would be selection bias, where we select the things that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Selection bias. You're selecting different pieces of evidence that again confirm your bias. It's because you can look at it. It's kind of where cherry picking comes from, to be honest. But I highly recommend a list. In fact, I'll put it in the description. But it's just the Wikipedia list of cognitive biases, and when you read through it, it's really powerful because crap, no parking. I gotta park all the way in the back. Somebody stole my spot. Fuck. Anyway. Yeah, because when you read the summaries, it gives examples of how it affects our thinking, and it also gives proof of how they know that these things affect us. So there's really interesting psychological studies where they get control groups and they test these biases and demonstrate the effect they have. And the thing is, this isn't some people. This is all people. This is you. This is me. And so if we want to get to truth, we have to realize there's an active part of our mind that is keeping us from doing that. And that's the effect cognitive biases have. They pervert our judgment. That's why you can't trust your intuition and your feeling. Intuition is... I'd love to talk about it more. Maybe I'll do that in my next segment. Because intuition is a very useful thing. It's a very good thing. But it has severe limitations, and it's not effective when you're looking for truth. Its biggest benefit is it gives you a feeling quickly, because it's off your subconscious. Your subconscious isn't as limited temporally, because it's most of your brain. It has a lot more kind of processing power. So it can send these feelings to us very quickly. And in survival and difficult situations like that, that can save your life. If you're with somebody at a bar and you have a bad feeling, absolutely trust your intuition. But if you have a feeling that what you're saying is true and that somebody else, what they're saying isn't true, well, the feeling is just going to be your intuition defending your current bias, your current belief. So in that case, you want to try to not listen to it. You want to try to look at where the actual arguments go. You want to get into the critical thinking of it, which I probably should define what I mean by critical thinking, which is fairly standard. And basically, it's methodological thinking. It's where you can show your work. That's the important thing. I think that's the foundation of what critical thinking is. It's not just intuition. It's not common sense. It's where you can show your work analytically. I believe this because of this, because of this, because of this, and here's the citation for these. There's lots of different ways you can do critical thinking. There's formal logic. There's informal logic. There's kind of shortcuts and heuristics, and you can present citations that back up your point and facts. But the important thing is that you can show your work. You can show how you arrived at your conclusion. It's not just, I had a feeling. So that's kind of the key to it. And anyway, I'm at work, and look it up. Do a little research on biases and how they affect the mind. And again, I think a lot of the people who are probably watching me are probably pretty well familiar with a lot of this. So I'm not necessarily talking to you. I'm more so hopefully helping you think about how to teach this to other people, because that's what we need to do. We're not going to get a big enough majority to radically change the entire education system of this country anytime soon without first winning a majority. We have to use critical thinking, and we have to win people to our side, and we have to train people ourselves before we can even get it taught through the system. So please take the time to mentor somebody younger, preferably, and talk about critical thinking. And this is where I would start. You have to start with, why is critical thinking necessary? And what gets you there is by understanding how fallible your own mind is and how biases affect your judgment. So definitely look that up. If you have kids, start with them, obviously. If you don't, try the Big Brother, Big Sister program. Be a mentor, something. But I think that's our best path to success. Or, befriend college kids. It doesn't have to be like children, but just, younger people in general. And let's change the world through the power of critical thinking, by seeking truth methodologically. This is how we can unite and find solutions at a larger level, because that's the only way people from diverse opinions can come to the same conclusion, is by following reliable methodology. Because there's only one reality, and there is a correct side to most anything. And there is correct positions, and if we agree on values, then we should be able to arrive at the same conclusions together. And we need to do that in order to get a big enough majority in order to change anything. So this is kind of a longer term project. I don't think democracy lasts for long without it. A well-educated populace, especially in critical thinking, is necessary to a functioning democracy. So definitely let's canvass for Bernie and work for that, because that's the immediate. But let's also work on this in the meantime. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Have a great day.